Thank you, Adrienne, from down there in the south of the UK. Here I am up in the north of the UK. So Graham and Keith, I can't see you both, unfortunately, at the moment, but it's with real pleasure I'm giving you this prestigious award that we award. Not every year, by the way, because some years it doesn't get awarded. It only gets awarded when it seems appropriate to award it, which I think is really important. As you said, Adrian, the Eric Berne Memorial Award was established to give recognition to those who've made a major contribution to transactional analysis, theory and or practice, and which has had a significant impact. When I read the nominating statement, it struck me in two major respects. First, that the nomination was made for introducing a new meta-perspective for thinking about theoretical development and design in transactional analysis. I found that very stimulating, that the nomination was actually for introducing a new meta-perspective. And the nominators wrote that your paper, Graham and Keith, on co-creative TA represented a step change in thinking about transactional analysis theory. It is essentially radical and goes back to the radical roots of TA in that it provokes us to think about how we think and how we write about theory. It challenged a pathology-based theory and offered an approach which is a positive psychological perspective. And in this is an important step in the unfolding of our theory with contemporary focus on relational experience and field experience. And then the second, and to me very significant way that the nomination impacted me, was that the team of 17 nominators represented a spread across the 4 fields of TA. Now, I think that in all the years I've been serving on this committee, it's the first time I've ever read a nomination which was supported, valued, and found applicable across all the fields of TA. I think that's really quite something, especially in the context of the transactional analysis, which is tending to separate into 4 fields, but some theory that everyone found useful, I think is wonderful. Now, the good news is that the article is on free download from Routledge until December 31st, so you can get hold of it for free. And so, Graham and Keith, wherever you are in this number of pictures, your work has been deemed worthy of this award. Many congratulations. So give them a toast, everyone, please, wherever you are.
You can't see them, can you? You're better than me.
Oh, there's Graham.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Liz. I feel very touched by your words. It probably won't surprise any of you, given that we're interested in co-creative TA, or we developed this together, that Keith and I will interleave our responses to your introduction, Liz. Thank you. Firstly, there are numerous people that Keith and I want to thank. So firstly, thank you to everyone involved in the ITAA for the many ways you support TA across the world, which of course includes your creativity in hosting this event today. Particular thanks to you, Liz, and the Eric Berne Memorial Award Committee for your work in evaluating nominations, which has directly led to Keith and I being here today as co-recipients. And thank you to my family, friends, and colleagues for loving and supporting me in life as well as work, but with special thanks to Keith, my co-author and good friend, for your profound companionship in our shared TA journey.
Oh, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Greetings to all. As the morning has gone on, I've got more nervous, and I'm almost in tears, Graham. Thank you. I first of all want to acknowledge Finita, you're our rangatira, chiefly presence, and it's a great honor to have you here and to hear you. So I do want to first of all acknowledge you. My thanks, continuing from Graham's, are firstly to our nominators for initiating this process, and as Liz said, we were both very touched that the nominators come from all four fields. That's something we'll pick up a bit later. And for all the work that you did in putting together the context statement and so on. That was in itself a huge stroke. So thank you so much to one and all. My second thanks go to my family, Louise, who's here, and Saul and Esther, our children, who are not up, but I will catch up with them later, and especially Louise, who's supported my involvement in the TA world for as long as we've known each other. Ehara takutoa I te toa takatahi, engari he toa takatini, which is a Māori whakatoki, which translates as, my success is not mine alone, but from many others. And finally, my thanks go to all my colleagues and friends in the TA world, many of whom are here today, and I'm touched by the enormous number of people, and some of whom also, like Liz, I can't see on this first screen, but I know you're here, and others who can't be here. While it would take too long to thank everyone who has influenced me on my journey, including early therapists, trainers and supervisors, I do want to mention too Charlotte Sills and Helena Hagedorn for their particular support. For 7 years, Charlotte, Graham, Helena and I were in a peer group together in which we discussed and debated theory and practice, and which in many ways was the crucible in which many of our ideas were forged. And lastly, so thank you, I can see Charlotte, so thank you Charlotte, and thank you Helena, wherever she is. And of course to my co-conspirator, Graham, for your energy, your humour, your irreverence, which appealed to me when we first met. Many happy memories of walking and talking and writing, and that's actually continued in the 10 years that I've been in New Zealand. So we have truly started off together, been apart, but are still together. So thank you, my friend, my hoa.
Thank you, Keith. Keith and I would play with theory while playing table tennis. Keith had a table tennis table in his home. And so we'd have these really intense games of table tennis, you know, really immersive. And then in between points, we'd have intense exchanges about theory. And so we were always throwing ideas around just as much as we were throwing a ping pong ball around. And we even had a flip chart right next to the table tennis table. So when some idea came up, we'd go, oh, write that down. Yes, yeah, write that down. So this is one of the ways in which, you know, our play would be interspersed with the discipline of writing, you know, which of course involves, you know, a whole process of reading, talking, many conversations between ourselves, with peers, with whoever we were working with. A process of combining and building on inspiration we took from other writers to create our own interpretation of TA. So I'm really delighted that in turn our thinking has resonated with a number of our TA colleagues. I would like to quote from our nominees. They said that the co-creative TA approach has a solution-focused quality that is down to earth, practical, and invites client engagement. They also said that by emphasizing the impact of social context, we were bringing contemporary TA closer to Berne's original vision of a social psychology for everyone. This speaks to both my working class roots and my love of ideas. So I am especially proud to be honored by this professional community that has such a long tradition of valuing accessibility, inclusion, and depth in our theory and practice. Thank you.
And I'll pick that up and towards our end. One of my favourite stories about my engagement with Graham, apart from the walks on the beach and of course the table tennis, and, we were suitably competitive, of course. Was when we put the book together, which brought together some of our subsequent co-creative writing. I wrote to Graham and said, oh yes, when we met at such and such, and Graham had a completely different story about when we'd met, when and where and with whom we'd met. We have these completely different stories, and we started sort of battling a little bit and saying, well, let's look up an old diary or whatever. And then Graham said, well, come on, we believe in multiple realities. Let's write 2 introductions. And so we wrote 2 introductions to the book, including our 2 memories, 2 different memories. And that's I think it's a lovely example of how creative you are, Graham, and how you stimulate that creativity. But it's also a very good example of constructivism in action. And like Graham, I'm delighted that our original article, as well as subsequent work, has inspired others. And I'm very touched, as you can see and hear, about what the nominator said and about what you said, Liz. Thank you so much for your beautiful summary. Like you, I value the fact that this is an award across TA, and that it is applicable across all fields of TA and thus to the whole community. And I'd like to offer another Māori whakatoki that summarises this. No te roro, naku te roro, ka ora ai te iwi. With your food basket and my food basket, the whole tribe benefits. I also appreciate the acknowledgement enshrined in the citation of the award, as Liz mentioned, about the meta perspective rooted in constructivist thinking. And this appeals to me as someone who is passionate about helping people not only to think about their actions, but to think about their thinking. I am both honoured and humbled to receive this award, which I will now show you because I've just unwrapped it this morning. So, no reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Thank you so much.
Lovely. Let's clap them, everybody, even if they can't hear your clap. That's wonderful. Hey, do you know, that was a co-created acceptance speech. Well done, guys. And I think that is a great honour. And I must say, I'm certainly personally delighted that you've both received recognition for your wonderful work on co-creative TA. So thank you